Terry could hardly contain her glee. It had taken months of scheming and maneuvering. She had woven plots, indulged and arranged conspiracies. She had twisted the facts and maximized the limits of her honesty. There had been arguments, some escalating into serious fights, but with each one she felt a tiny bit of his resolve slipping away. Sometimes she saw the anger in his eyes. Sometimes it was hurt and pain, but she was ready for it. She knew it was necessary for the next chapter in their marriage. Things would work out for the best in the end, and they would both be happier. She was sure of it. She was doing what millions of other wives before her had done and manipulating him, using the virtues of her body as a weapon. She refused to make love to him or any carnal pleasures for long periods of time, and would only agree in the face of a small concession on his part. She was wearing him down. She could see it in his face. It was an uphill struggle with calculated risks along the way. It wasn't easy, but finally there she was, sitting across from her future lover, having a romantic dinner for two. The setting was intimate, the restaurant cozy. Oh, how she was looking forward to this moment. The night was going to be magical. And she owed it all to an article she had read in a women's magazine. For years, she had felt that there was something missing in her marriage. It wasn't that she didn't love her husband or that he didn't love her. They both loved each other very much. He was kind and considerate, always putting her first, even in the bedroom. But this article had wet her panties before she had finished it. Yes, it was exactly what she needed, but who and how? How could she get her loving husband to agree to something so contrary to his own personality? The one who had come to her like a flash of lightning when Carter had become a new employee where she worked. He was tall, at least 6 feet, 2 inches with broad shoulders, and a lush mop of black hair like Elvis. He was younger than her by at least 7 or 8 years, and she could tell as soon as she saw him watching her that he was interested. The first time they'd had lunch together, she found him to be feisty, perfect for what she wanted. She trusted him and included him as an accomplice in her devious plan. It caused a gleam in his eyes and tension in his groin. Now about the how. It would take time. She would have to be careful. She didn't want to risk what she had. After all, she loved him. She had become an insatiable reader on the subject. She read books, articles, blogs, and stories. When she felt she was ready, she began to realize her devilish cunning. She initiated her plan by leaving him an article. But when he didn't bother to read it, she gently brought it to his attention by telling him that one of her co-workers had used this method to revitalize her marriage. When she suggested that it would be fun to try it herself, he slapped the tabletop, telling her that he would never agree to such a ridiculous idea, and if she persisted in her quest, it would lead to the end of their marriage. But that was months ago, and she had reveled in her cleverness. She had tamed him, and now she would see her plan through. "So he'll be watching us then?" Carter asked. "I doubt it, at least at first. You'll probably go to the spare bedroom, but he'll be able to hear us, so make sure you talk loud. It'll add to his humiliation," she said, so proud of herself. "Should I call him a cuckold and a cuckold?" "Oh, of course," she replied with a chuckle. "And you're sure he won't go on a rampage?" "No, he's not very happy, but he won't pull any punches or anything. I know him. Have you locked him in one of those? What do you call them? A chastity device?" "No, not yet, but it's the next item on the agenda." She couldn't help but grin at the thought of being able to control his orgasms. "That's a real power." She pondered. "I can't believe it. When you told me what you were going to do, I never thought you could get away with it. But I have to hand it to you. You pulled it off." She basked in her future lover's praise. After all, there was nothing she wasn't saying to herself. "What did he say when you left? I mean, he knows I'm coming home with you." "He knows. I'm going to sleep with his woman in his bed. Did he cry or beg you not to come tonight?" "It was a little weird, actually," she said, thinking about his question for a moment. "He didn't do either of those things. He just sat on the edge of the bed and watched me get dressed and put on my makeup. He did look terribly hurt when I took off my wedding rings and strung them on the little gold necklace he'd given me for our anniversary. See?" she said, lifting it up so her young lover could get a good look. "I told him it was just a symbol of my new freedom. and that I'd put them back on my finger when you left in the morning. He definitely pouted after that," she continued. "He waited until I was almost ready and then he disappeared. I looked for him when I went out, but I have no idea where he went. He didn't even say goodbye or kissed me before he left. I'm sure he's angry, but he'll get over it. First of all, I haven't let him touch me sexually for the last 3 weeks, but I told him that if he's a good boy tonight when we're done, he can have me any time for the next 2 nights. That would cheer him up. All this talk is getting me pretty damn excited. Are you ready to go?" the choppy young man asked. They paid the bill and he followed her home. Sari was surprised to find the house lights off. Maybe he'd already gone to bed, she thought. Carter was right behind her as they entered. "Here, Cookie, 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 where are you? Come here to watch me take your wife away from you. Sha, give the poor thing a break, will you?" she said, playfully slapping him on the arm. "Why don't you make yourself comfortable on the couch for a minute while I find him? He has an office in the basement. He's probably down there." She opened the door, but the lights were off there too. "Honey, honey, are you down here?" she shouted, just in case. There was no reply. "Is he down there?" Carter asked, wanting to jab her husband's nose at his horn instruction. "No, he must be in the guest room. He was probably still moping and went to bed early. I hope he's not in the master bedroom. If he is, he's in big trouble," she said as she climbed the stairs. Terry looked into the guest room, but it looked untouched. "Damn him," she thought, turning around and storming into the master bedroom. But he wasn't there either. So what the hell, she asked herself. It hadn't occurred to her to look for his car in the garage. He wouldn't dare leave. He knew damn well she wanted him here for the night. Just out of curiosity, she looked in his closet and aghast to find that all of his clothes were gone. "Oh my God," she screamed. Just then something caught her attention. He had left it on the dresser, his wedding ring. Underneath the ring were some papers. At the top of the first page was the heading "Dissolution of Marriage" in bold print. Terry's heart seemed about to burst with pain, tears streaming down her face. "What have I done?" she asked. "Oh God, what have I done?" Now she knew what he had meant for the past few months when he had said, "No,